Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Jay and Will Show. I'm Jay, and of course, I got my bro Will with me. What's going on, bro?
What is it? Chilling.
Yes, sir. Today's episode is going to be about Dallas Cowboys, where we are currently wrapping up last year, talking about the draft, off-season acquisitions, things of that nature, and then we're going to go over the 2021 schedule that recently was released and give a prediction that, at the end of the year we'll be able to look back on and say we were wrong about. But we just wanted to kind of discuss the schedule that just recently was released. Obviously, this year is the first year that we're going to have 17 games in 18 weeks. So we're going to discuss that a little bit. But before we get into that piece of it, I kind of wanted to take a step back, Will, and just kind of get your overall opinion on how the season ended last year, what your thoughts are about what we've done so far in the offseason, and obviously the draft, and where you feel we're headed going into 2021.
Well, when it comes to last year, it was bad, but I definitely wish it would have been a little bit worse and take a few more losses just so that they would have got a higher draft position to get a better opportunity at one of those top corners.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I think we did pretty well in the draft. It's been the fact that they know that the defense is really bad, and they actually been putting a ton of capital on that side of the ball from the free agent signings, the draft as well. So they know that it's an issue. And so with that, they brought in Dan Quinn to be able to help improve that defense. And then what's crazy is like the last year, Mike McCarthy was saying how just get the best player and we'll fit the scheme around them. And then this year is get the players to fit the scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, it's hard to argue, especially on the defensive side of the ball, when Dan Quinn had the Legion of Boom and they did their thing for years before he went to Atlanta. And so that it's hard to argue. It's like, well, I mean, it worked before, so why not do it again? Because his thing is space. Get the big guy so you can take away space in the field. So I think when you think about it that way, it's actually pretty smart. And so with him just having to focus on the defensive side of the ball, he's been to a Super Bowl. McCarthy's been to a Super Bowl. So having coaches that's actually been there, one has won, one had lost a huge lead, but not running the ball and kept throwing it. So I think that is a huge it's pretty big for them to have that type of coaching staff instead of a bunch of guys who average as hell and haven't done much in their career. So I think it's pretty big moving forward. Because even with Kellen Moore on the offensive side, he hadn't done much, but you can see that the offense is really good. So to me, all the defense has to do is be middle of the pack.
Yeah,
average as hell, and I think that the overall team play will be really good. I just hope that they can get some turnovers because they've been allergic to turnovers for like a decade now, and it's insane.
Yeah, as long as we've been grown, they just haven't had interest in getting turnovers. So I agree with everything you said. It would have been nice for Dan Quinn to have either J.C. Horn or Patrick Surtain.
Yes.
But it's one of those things where it's just like, if Micah Parsons is a consolation prize, it's not a bad consolation prize, right? Yeah. But I just felt like it was almost like a shoo-in that we were going to get one of those two that was like, okay,
right?
Like, we can build around this dude. Like, this is one of those dudes who day one starter, him, automatically being either CB1 or CB2, like, what you're going to get from him, and having a defensive mastermind, so to speak, like Dan Quinn to, have that as a centerpiece to build around. It's going to be great to have him and have Diggs on the other side and then obviously still have the competition between Brown and my guy Jay Lou.
Yeah.
I felt like that was like, all right, like, we at least got something started from there. So to not get one of those two was kind of gutting, like just to know that I don't think anybody thought that they wouldn't both be gone. It was kind of like
back to back.
Yeah, like all right, one of them may be gone, but like if Surtain gets picked up, at least we got JC Horn. JC Horn gets picked up, at least we got Surtain. So to see them both go 8-9 was kind of like what? But like I said, if Michael Parsons is the consolation prize, I think that's not the worst thing in the world. And I think for him specifically, I think he knows what they were trying to get, regardless of what them saying. Oh, Michael was our first choice. Everybody knew that wasn't the case. So I think that may be kind of incentive for him to be like to kind of prove his worth as that number one pick. And I think he has, if he has a chip on his shoulder, that's gonna be nice to see on the field. Yeah. I appreciate the fact that they did not just rely on the fact that we have a lot of money invested in Jalen Smith and we invested a first round pick in LVE. So we have to honor that. They just
right.
Yeah. So to getting guys like Parsons and Jabril Cox and these guys who, could potentially take snaps away from those two, despite what you invested in them, just shows that they are committed to improving and not just looking at, well, this guy has to get snaps because I paid him so much money. I appreciate the fact that they're looking at it like, at least it appears they're looking at it like, I don't care what we paid you. If you're not producing, you're not producing. So I think backing into getting Michael Parsons was a blessing in disguise, because now it forces those two guys to really be able to step up. We saw them not take the 5th-year option on LVE, so we'll see how it goes long term. Yeah, it's just I appreciate that they've been kind of, I don't want to say forced into doing this, but they kind of have, because if they got Patrick Surtain, if they got Jason Horn, I don't know if they would have been going through this particular set of circumstances where they would have not picked up LVE's 5th year. So I don't know, right? And obviously we'll never know, but I feel like just based on the direction we saw them going, that would not have been the case more than likely if they were able to get one of those two corners. The free agency part is true as well. Obviously, they're placing emphasis on defense. And so I think that having Dan Quinn just focus on that and not having to be a CEO of a team and having to oversee all the other things, it can make things easier. Now, their defense in Atlanta was not good. It wasn't good. So I'm not sure how much of that was them just kind of putting all their assets on the offensive line.
I think that was a good portion of it. That a lot of their top picks, they go offensive outside of, I think, Vic Beasley. But and he was a beast. But I think that was what he had to deal with, was going heavy offense.
Yeah. And I think that, if that is the case, and you see how much they're investing in defense this offseason, you hope that there's some kind of return on investment. Yeah. And we'll see in my predictions, like, I don't have them being that great at first. I think it's going to take time for them to get to where we want them to be. Yeah. But I do think that to your point, if they're just consistent and not horrible, if they're not bottom third of the league, if they're in the middle of the pack, that's enough to keep us consistent and get the results that we want, because the offense is going to be fine. Barring everybody being healthy, the offense is going to be fine. If we have our full complement of guys on the offensive line, if we have a healthy Zeke, obviously that coming back, if he's what he was before he went down, the offense is going to take care of itself. It's just a matter of not having to rely on them to score 40 points a game to keep us in it. So we'll see how it goes. So I guess with that being said, we can just move on into the predictions for 2021. So week 1, I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
The first game of the season to actually kick off the NFL season in 2021, where you normally have the Super Bowl champion hosting the first game on that Thursday night. Obviously, Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl this year, and of course, the Cowboys, their first opponent. Thursday Night Football, week 1. So, Will, how do you have that one shaking out for us?
I have Dallas winning that one. I think Tampa going to start this year slow. They did it last year, then got hot late. That's what Brady has been doing for the past several years, is starting slow. So I think they'll continue starting slow, and then we'll see what happens from that. But yeah, I think Dallas going to end up winning that one.
Yeah, I got Tampa beating the brakes off of us only because they brought all their starters back, all of both sides of the field, and I think that continuity and that consistency is going to be helpful versus us, where our defense is kind of turned over essentially to where we have new guys, and so I think them trying to figure it out against that team that's already established and already is familiar with, you know, what they're doing from offensive perspective, how to exploit certain defenses and things of that nature. I think that is a recipe for disaster. I hope they don't get killed, but I got them losing that game just because of the learning curve and trying to figure out, you know, how to implement the new pieces that they have. How many snaps is Jalen going to have versus Micah? How many snaps is LB going to have versus Will Cox? How are they going to figure this out? I think having to start that game or start the season out against a team who is literally bringing everybody back from the year before, emotions riding high about, you know, raising the banner type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, the first night of the season, I just feel like that's a bigger spotlight than the Cowboys will be ready to take on at that particular point in time. Because it's week one, that's how they win that game.
Yeah.
Week two, they are going to LA to play the Los Angeles Chargers. Will, how do you have that one shaking out?
I have Chargers winning that one. The way, what's the quarterback name?
Justin Herbert.
Yeah, Herbert. That dude was balling last year. So I think, I think he'll be a problem. They also, it's the beginning of the year, so they actually will have a healthy squad as well. Right. So when they're healthy, they're good. So I think Chargers will win this one.
Yeah, I have the Chargers win that one as well. Again, kind of more what I talked about in the Tampa Bay game. It's just the continuity won't be there yet, and that offense, the Chargers offense, was amazing last year. You know, if they have Austin Eckler healthy to start the season out, that's a different dynamic as well. And so I think it's going to take us some time defensively to get, you know, to where we feel comfortable with our rotations and things of that nature. And I think playing two of the better offenses in the league in the first 2 weeks is going to be a real litmus test to see where they are. And you know, I hope that it doesn't end up being a thing where they struggle in those 2 games. People just start panicking and saying, "Oh, Dan Quinn, you know, it's like, fam, look who they're playing." Like, like you have to look at that. Two teams that are established in what they do. They've already brought over a lot of momentum from last year. The Chargers were in a lot of games they lost last year, and so, you know, you look at that from year to year. You know, I got to count on says a lot of those times where those close games you lose one year, you win the next year.
Exactly.
So I think it's one of those things where you have to look at that and say the fact that they were competitive in those games, that experience from last year that they bring into this year could end up being beneficial for them to kind of come out on the right side of those games, whereas they didn't have it last year because they had a rookie quarterback, you know, and, you know, they're implementing a lot of things. They do have a new head coach. And so we'll see how that goes as far as, you know, them having to adjust. But I see the Chargers win that game, and on my ledger so far, I have the Cowboys going too. And next week, finally, our home opener against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Monday Night Football.
Yes, sir.
I got the Cowboys winning. Jalen Hurts is the quarterback early on in the season. So I think we'll be able to deal with him.
Yeah, I have them winning that game too. Finally, Philadelphia confuses me. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's easy just to be like, oh, Jalen Hurts, but it's like Jalen Hurts was a rookie last year. They had no training camp, no mini camp, no nothing. Yeah. If they commit to him at least, he'll have a full offseason as their starter. He'll have a full training camp with them as their starter. You know, they have Kind of some pieces, kind of. But like you get Devontae Smith,
Yeah.
that changes things.
Yeah.
They figure out how to get Jalen Reagor acclimated appropriately. That changes things as well. So you got two speedsters that are really good route runners.
Yeah.
That will test the corners. They will definitely test our corners. And so if they find ways to scheme Jalen Hurts into getting good situations and advantageous situations, Devontae Smith is going to find his way open regardless because he's just Devontae Smith. And I don't know, obviously we have Diggs and maybe he can be a guy who can stay in front of him, but he's a difficult dude to shake. So we'll see how that goes. It'll be early in the season enough to where I feel like we can kind of catch him slipping. Later on, we have them at week 18. I don't know if that game will even mean anything depending on how the season goes. So I'm not sure how that will shake out. But I do feel like because they have a new coaching staff and they're trying to figure it out, I think that we can catch them slipping in week 3 and get that W. So I have them win that game as well.
And also the rookie from Kentucky, he guarded.
He balled against.
Yeah,
him. He did.
Yeah, so I think that'd be interesting as well because it seems like the way that they drafted, as well as the free agency, on the defensive side of the ball is that they'll be able to play the players situationally. So from week to week, depending upon matchup. So and because that's what it seems like New England would do. So it feels like that they have players that will be able to do that as well. So not necessarily will you have a set third cornerback per se, but you will be able to move them around, especially the linebackers as well for best situations. Because like with Tampa, you have a dominant tight end in Gronk, and then you go into Philly. Actually, the first 3 weeks you got good tight end, so you can end up having to force you to play like Jabril Cox early on, and then you get to week 4 where it's Carolina. I don't think they have a dominant tight end as far as I can think of, so you can end up going back to like LVE will play a little bit more that game than Jabril. So I think that's how they've been able to build up their roster.
I hope that they do that because you do see that they have, like you said, built in that kind of versatility to where you don't have to depend on these people to do these things all the time. If you're able to situationally substitute based on who you're playing, it makes it difficult for the other team because they have to kind of plan for everything because you have such versatility. So I hope that there's not anything in the way of that to where people above him are saying, you need to play this guy this many snaps in the game or whatever. Because if he does have that control to be able to use them as like chess pieces on the board, like that could be another dynamic that we don't really see in the league that much because everybody's like got their set 11 guys or 13 or whatever. But to have those specialty guys that maybe in certain games may just be playing special teams, but in other games they may be used more in coverage or like just kind of like you said, defending on like a Travis Kelce when you have them later on down the line or all those other guys. I think having that versatility will be huge if they allow Dan Quinn to do that. So before, as you kind of alluded to, we played the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, they're trying to figure out what the hell they're doing at quarterback. They traded for Sam Darnold and they let Teddy Bridgewater go. So it looks like that's the direction they're going. But Will, how do you have us faring out of that game?
I think Dallas win that one. I think Carolina will still be trying to figure their way out before they get balling. I think Darnold's going to ball down there with Rule just because of his the offensive mind. It did intrigue me with what Teddy said before he left that they didn't really do situational ball as much when it came to practice, like the 2-minute warning. This close game, red zone, the situational stuff that would typically take half a day or or a full day's practice. So that's going to be interesting, especially having a young quarterback. But I think Dallas will end up getting this one just because it's early in the season and they hadn't put it together yet.
Yeah, I have them winning that game as well. That's one of those games that if you are who you say you are, you should win that game. There should be one. Week 5, Cowboys playing the New York Giants at home.
Yeah.
I think that's another one of those games that I feel like if you are who you say you are, you should be able to win that game. But what do you have going for that game for us?
I have Dallas winning. Jason Garrett is the coordinator, but I think the offense might be a little bit better since they're a bit healthier than what they were last year.
Yeah.
They go out to get receivers and things like that. So offense might be a little bit better, but I think by then our defense could start figuring things out to be able to deal with the Giants.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley should be out there at that point as well. So that'll be nice to see how their run defense is improved, if it has or if it hasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that'll be the first real test.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, I don't know if what's my guy's name out of Carolina? McCaffrey. I'm not sure if he'll be healthy. I'm sure. I mean, he probably will be, but if he is healthy, he'll be the first real test.
Yeah.
Back to back right after that, we got Saquon Barkley. So we'll see how the defense improves pretty quickly. I had them win that game as well. Like I said before, I feel like if you are such an improved team, if you've taken a step in the right direction, this is a game that you should be able to win, particularly at home against a team that will still be trying to figure it out. And I don't know if they even know what they have a quarterback. So we'll see. I think that's one of those games that the defense you'll get to see what we're made of, because the way he turns the ball over, like, they should be able to get something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So if they can turn him over and if they can put a cap on Saquon, I think that's a good recipe to get a win. So I have them win the game as well. Week 6, they are going on the road to face the New England Patriots. What are your thoughts on that one?
I think they'll lose that one. The last time we played them a few years ago, it was a grimy game. I think the final was like 22-19, 21-19, something like that, 23-19. It was just a nasty game. Dak had a bad one, but it's also Bill Belichick, which is understandable on the defensive side of the ball. Plus, I think they'll be getting all those players that opted out last year on defense. They'll be bringing them back as well. So they were able to sit out a year, and now bringing it all back this year. So I think it's going to be a grimy game, and I think New England will pull it out. It's hard to bet against Bill Belichick, and especially when it comes to what we've seen with this, as far as you don't play him often enough to game plan enough for it. So I think that's what will end up hurting. So that's why he ends up being he's a much better tactician when it comes to that. So I do believe we'll take this out.
And we should have won that game.
It was chances.
It was raining that day, I think. And they had that horrible call where they on the offensive line, it was just like, I don't know what they saw. But I think I remember like Bill Belichick had like gotten the referee's ear earlier in the game, like, hey, watch out for this. They do this a lot or whatever. And so they were already looking for it, even though it didn't actually happen. Whatever. So I had them losing that game as well for a lot of reasons. You mentioned the fact that they get their full complement of starters back on defense they did not have last year because of COVID. I don't know what they're going to be doing at quarterback, whether it's going to be Cam or Mac Jones, but it's Bill Belichick, so I don't know if it really matters.
Right.
I think this is really going to be one of those things where it's like, all right, like, how good of a coach is Mike McCarthy? Because I think that's really more going to be what tilts the scales, I think, because you'll have a really good New England defense, you'll have a really good Cowboys offense, and then you'll have a decent New England defense, a decent New England offense, and hopefully a decent Dallas defense. So if that's the case, that's the separation is coaching, right? And so is Mike McCarthy, he's not on the same level, obviously. So I think because he's not, I think that's what tilts the scales.
Don't forget about that third side of the ball, the special teams.
That's also true. And I don't know who's our kicker.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Exactly.
If it comes down to that, I don't know. I don't know how things go.
Guys, didn't they block a kick last time?
Yeah, they did. They
See,
did.
that's what I'm saying. Like both teams were really close to each other as
Yep.
far as talent on each side of the ball, and the difference was special teams.
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like it's the small things
And
like
he's
that.
one of the better special team coaches, and I mean, I know he's not the first team coach, but
Yeah,
he schemes special teams so well. And he invests in special teams as well. Like he understands that could be a separator. And I think that's what also puts him on a different level than everybody else.
Yep.
So yeah, I have them losing that game going into the bye week on week 7.
The details. It is the details.
Absolutely. So week 7 is a bye. Week 8 first game out of the bye is at Minnesota. How you got that one going?
I have us winning that. Excuse me. I have us winning that one. Going against Dalvin, it's going to be interesting. This is going to be a huge test when it comes to our linebacking core. Being able to slow him down, make sure he don't go for $150 plus on us. But I think we'll be able to pull it out. Cousins he'll give us that ball. He will give us that. He'll give you opportunities. So it's all about the backside of our defense holding on to the ball when he give it to us. So I think that will be the big difference is the fact that he will turn that thing over.
Yeah, I have us winning that game as well. But it's kind of like an asterisk on it.
Yeah.
Can you handle Dalvin Cook? Because if you can't, then it's a L.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm hoping that they can, obviously, he's one of those talents that's like you're not going to stop him, but can you keep him at a relatively reasonable, like can you minimize his damage as much as possible?
Exactly.
Keep him out of end zone as much as possible. I think that's where, because he's gonna run on you, but can you keep him out of the end zone? That's the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to win that game as well. Next week against the Denver Broncos. He has an asterisk on it because I don't know what they're be looking like because if they get Aaron Rodgers, that's
all bets are off.
All bets are off.
Yeah.
So I'll just say that we are doing this with the current roster in mind, that Drew Lock is a current quarterback, but please know that if you're watching this after some sort of trade that took place, throw this week out
and watch it happen on Monday.
Exactly. Throw it out. We're recording this on May 16th, so if something happens after that, just disregard week 9 altogether, please. Anyway, how you guys as the way the roster is currently set up?
Yeah, I have us winning this one, primarily because it is a home game. Von Miller will be back, and he's a disruptor. He's like the ultimate disruptor on that side of the ball. So, but I do have us winning this one. It's like this. If this game was in Denver, I think we would lose it. I think it's that kind of game. So I do think we will end up winning this one now.
Yeah, I've been winning it as well. I like Drew Lock. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't love him, but I like him, and I think there's something to build on with him. Just not against us. Next week, they have the Atlanta Falcons coming into town. Obviously, Kyle Pitts will be there. This is a kind of a revenge game potentially for Dan Quinn as well. How you got that one shaking out for us?
I have us winning that one. I think Dan is going to, if there's going to be a defensive game that he's going to mastermind, it's going to be this one. Yeah. I think this is going to be a gem of a game for him. Unfortunately, it's going to be a week early, but I think I think we'll win this one.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's got that one circled on the calendar. Sure.
Oh yeah. If he said he does it, he lying.
He's lying. And he should lie. He should say, "Oh, it's just another day." He should say that. But we already know what time it is. So
exactly.
Oh boy.
Like I said, a week early.
Yeah. Get ready for a letdown. So the next week, Cowboys visit the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm pretty sure you both have those that locked in the same way, but
Yeah.
I'll certainly give you the floor on that one.
Yeah, I have them losing this one. But I do think it's going to be closer than what a lot of people expect. I think it's going to be within a touchdown game or one score game. I do believe it will be a one score game, primarily because our offense is pretty good to be able to score, but they have to keep scoring.
Yeah.
But what I'm looking forward to is if, like we said earlier, if they do the situational players, I want to see what Jabril Cox does with Kelsey. If he's able to run with him and just not necessarily shut him down, but make him work harder, this will be a fun one. They'll still lose. Dallas will still lose this one, but I think it'll be that much more fun, making him work that much more.
So I don't even know if there's an actual answer to this question because I don't know if there is anybody, but like anybody in the league, but I don't know who you put on Tyreek. Like on our roster currently, I don't know who you put.
It has to be.
They'll be bracketed, but
over the top. Yeah, you got to have somebody over the top. So you can. What I would do is man up and then just have over the top. I would put Diggs on them all game and just have coverage over the top. So just because Diggs would play the underside, and then you have the coverage over the top for whenever Mahomes throw it out there. Because it's going to happen at least twice, 2 or 3 times. It's going to happen. But so I think at this point, I think by then Jay Lou will be the safety, so he'll be on the backside. He'll be on the backside to help with that.
Yeah, that game scares the hell out of me.
Yeah,
but I do think, and I agree. Like, whenever there are teams that we have on the schedule that people just expect to annihilate us, we hang around.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we may not win the game, but it's never like 40-17. Like we hanging around in those games. And a lot of those games, like the New England game that year, where I think people just thought we were getting killed, we hung around and there were just certain calls here and there that made things sway one way or the other. But we could have won that game. The games against Green Bay, like they look at us and like, we're going to kill, but we hang around in those games. Like, Tampa Bay that week 1 is one of those games that, people expect us to get killed and, we could potentially hang around. And depending on how things go, you never know, one call one way or the other. Who knows? So I do think they'll be competitive, like you said. I don't think there's going to be like they're not going to get killed. But I just feel like I trust Andy Reid more to figure out ways to get around, even if we are able to keep them reasonably contained, even if it's a close game, I expect him to make the right call over what we have, which is a separate podcast probably. But I have Kansas City winning the game, but to your point, I don't think it's going to be, a beat down like a lot of people probably assume it's going to be. The next week, we are at home facing the Las Vegas Raiders.
Thanksgiving
game. Thank you for pointing that out. Thoughts on that one?
I think we'll get this one. So it turns out since like 2000, it escapes my mind who did the numbers, but since 2015, this game has decided if Dallas makes the playoffs or not. If they lose, they miss the playoffs. If they win, they make the playoffs. So I think they'll win this one and end up eventually making the playoffs this year.
I had them losing this game only because they've made it almost like a tradition to like not play well on Thanksgiving, at least recently.
Yeah.
Not that Las Vegas is better because I don't think they're better, but I just feel like, and maybe this year will be different because hopefully, knock on wood, they were healthier. Dak is back. Offensive line is together. The defense is somewhat reasonable. The result may be different, but I just feel like we just like almost consistently just get our lunch money taken from us on Thanksgiving. Like people just come in there and they just snatch on lunch.
Bully ball.
It's just like, I don't know. And maybe that'll be different this year, but I just have gotten almost accustomed to seeing them get embarrassed. Even if it's not a blowout, but just like to teams that you should not be losing to, losing these games. And it's like, there's the certain, I guess, like killer instinct that has not been there, where it's just like, you should be taking care of these type of games. If you look at the teams they lost to, it's like, I know they lost to Buffalo. I mean, that's different.
It was up and coming Buffalo too.
Yeah. You could see it in hindsight, like, okay, I see what it was for that. But losing to the football team, like,
well, they got that. I'm not saying they're a
bad team, but it's just like if you plan on being one of those teams, you can't lose like that. In my opinion. Yeah, so they got embarrassed. I'm not saying that they were a trash team or there's no way you should lose to them, but I'm just saying like you shouldn't get your lunch money taken from you in that game. And they got their lunch money taken from them in that game. It helped me out because I had time to give us an ball, but like you shouldn't see like that type of game where it's just like y'all aren't even competitive. Yeah. And granted, again, I know we didn't have our full complement of guys. I know that we didn't have our quarterback. I know our offensive line was decimated. So I know there are certain things that maybe if those situations were different, the result will be different. But I've also seen we've been healthy and we've still been in games like that where we just did not get over the hump for whatever reason. So I say this hoping that I'm wrong, but I just have them losing that game because I feel like, and another thing too, like they gotta stop scheduling on late games on Sunday before Thanksgiving. Like, I don't know what the deal is with that, but they've done it for I think like 3 years now.
At least.
Like it's just like and it's on the road. Like if it was at home, I can understand that. But you got them playing at Kansas City on a late game, like a 3:30 game, national TV, and then you got them playing on Thursday. Like, and then you have to play another Thursday after that. So they got now they've perennially now they played 2 Thursdays in a row. Yeah. But they still have that game the week before where they're playing. I haven't seen them play noon that week before, and I don't know how long. It's always been. I think one time they started a Saturday night game in there one time. It's just like,
that was like.
It was like 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah.
I mean,
so it's just like, what are y'all doing? Like,
what is this?
I don't understand that. I get it. Like, it's ratings, but it's just like you can't have 1 week where they play at noon and you have like the Packers or Chiefs or the Bucks or somebody else hold that 4:15 schedule down. Like, why do we have to be? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand that. But I don't know.
The only good thing about this is that it is in Kansas City instead of like in New York or in Seattle. Yeah, they've done that. They have Seattle on the coast. Yeah, they put them in on the coast for an afternoon game and then have to play that Thursday. So it's much better that it's closer to Dallas.
That is true, but damn, like
it's still bad though.
Or even like, they don't play Houston once every 8 years, but like if it's somewhat closer in proximity, like the New England game, I would be cool with that. If they play New England, it's okay. That's a short. New Orleans. Excuse me. If they play the New Orleans game the week before, like okay, that's not that far. Like that's a reasonable flight. Like it's not like they're going cross country like you said. But Kansas City ain't up the street. So you still like, who knows when they're gonna get home, and then what happens if they go in overtime? So now they're bleeding into night, and then you got so it's just. I don't know.
A lot can happen.
I don't understand that, but whatever. So speaking of New Orleans, the next game is at New Orleans. The game after Thanksgiving, another Thursday night game. So how do you have that one shaking out?
This one I think would be interesting, primarily because it's going to be 30 for 30, Jameis Winston. I think we'll end up winning because he turns the ball over. Well, he might not as much because he'll have what's the coach name?
Sean Payton.
Yeah, he'll have Payton coaching him up, so he might not turn it over as much, but I think that we will be able to get enough, make enough defensive plays to win that game. So I got Dallas winning that one.
My question for you is, how do you know it's Jameis Winston starting and not Taysom Hill?
Nah, don't, man.
I'm just asking the question. I'm just asking the question.
Oh God, I forgot about the gimmick player. Man, Jameis.
It's gonna be Jameis.
It's gonna be Jameis.
I mean, I don't know. Like I'm not.
Has he thrown consistent? But he was playing. He was playing when. Oh God. I still got that.
I'm just saying. You can't rule it out.
Just hit me. Yeah, it just hit me. I still got Dallas winning. I'm sticking with it.
Okay. I
You got.
I don't understand the whole Taysom Hill thing.
Yeah.
Personally, I feel like he's Tim Tebow, 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
But Sean sees something, and I don't know what he sees. Yeah. But he saw something in Romo too.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying he's Romo, but I'm just saying he does have a track record of identifying something in a quarterback that either folks may not have saw, or he sees something he can mold into a successful quarterback. I don't know, but all I'm saying is I don't know who the hell is going to be starting for them at that point. But I do agree that I don't think it matters if the Cowboys are able to overcome that defense, because I do think their defense is going to be what holds them and makes them relevant next year. Mm-hmm. Then they'll be fine. I just don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I have the Cowboys winning that game. So, following week on the road again at Washington.
They should change their name to the football club. I think that'll be a better name. Kind of go with the other football, which is soccer.
Yeah.
Washington Football Club is much better.
That'd be dope.
Yeah.
Washington FC?
Yeah, it actually. Dallas lose this one, though. Okay. Yeah, that defense, that D-line is some serious. They can get at you. Their front seven, the linebackers, they cover the field really well, getting the space. So I think that, and then it's going to be on the road. So I think they're going to get this one.
Yeah, I haven't won this one.
You do?
I do. I think the road team win both games in this series.
Yeah, that's how that's crazy. I got the home teams.
Yeah, I think it's going to be split. I think the road teams are going to win. I think I don't know. For some reason, I feel like something's going to happen to where Fitzpatrick is not their starter by the time we play them.
Yeah,
whether he gets hurt or he's not playing well enough. And I don't know who their backup is, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But their defense, obviously, like you said, is good enough to keep them in any game. So it doesn't really matter. Yeah. But I think I trust Dak over whoever they have playing quarterback.
Yeah.
So I think they win this first game, and I think that team adjusts to where the next time we play them, they probably beat us. But I think the first time out, I have the Cowboys winning that game.
Okay.
Next game on the road again against the Giants.
Yeah.
The following week.
So I actually have Dallas losing this one. It's divisional, so it's hard to at this point to say that we will sweep any team in our division. So I actually have basically splits for our division. So I think Dallas will lose this one.
I have the Cowboys sweeping Giants this year.
Right.
I know.
I mean, it's not surprising, but like I said, this division, it hasn't had the same division winner for 16 years.
That's true.
But it's just a wild ass division, bro.
It is. it is. And they're the only team I have us sweeping. but I have them sweeping them only because I look at that team as the least consistent.
That's real.
Not that they're like the worst team necessarily. I think Philly might be the worst team. Like the way they're currently, the way their roster is currently structured, and the way they've handled the head coach situation. I think they're right now the worst team. But I think that for some reason we always have an issue with them, regardless of their roster, and so I don't see us sweeping them.
Yeah,
I definitely see us sweeping Washington. I think in order to win the division, they're going to have to sweep someone.
Yeah, that's understandable.
So I think the Giants, for me, is that team. I don't have a whole lot of confidence in that, but I do look at it as if we're going to win the division, we got to get 2 games from somebody. And I feel like if there is a team to do that from or to get that from, it is the Giants. So that's why I have them beating them. But like I said, ain't a whole lot of confidence in that. But I think that has to be that way if we're going to win a division. Because if we split with everybody, I don't know if we're going to win a division like that because our schedule, which we have, I think I saw we have the by percentage that you just scheduled in the league.
Second, the Eagles have the easiest, and we have the second easiest.
So that don't mean nothing to me though.
That's off of last year.
Yeah, and I think if there is one year where it's like you can't go by that, it was last year. Right? Like with all the COVID stuff and people opting out and stuff like that. Exactly. It's hard to use that as a barometer because we don't know from year to year how a team like New England's a perfect example of that. New England I feel like they're going to be way better than they were last year because just by proxy of getting their players back.
Yeah.
So I just year to year, it's hard to say. But I'll give one. Yeah, I have them actually winning that game. The following week, they're playing Washington at home. Well, how you feel about that?
I have them winning that one. It's a home game. Like I said, I have the home teams winning their games respectively. So yeah, I think I think it'll be a close one. It's going to be fun because it's going to be Sunday night just after Christmas. So I think it'll be a good one.
Yeah, it's, again, because I have been splitting that series, like you said. Week 17, we have them playing the Arizona Cardinals at home. How do you see that one going?
I have them losing that one. I think the Cardinals going to take a step forward this year. They got a nice team. We got the brakes beat off of us last year. Helped me get that dub in fantasy football. But yeah, I think we'll lose to them again. That NFC West is something serious, and I think the Cardinals will be towards the top of that division.
Yeah, I agree. I have us losing that game as well, only because we got our doors blown off last year, like we said, and I think they got better than how they were last year. I don't know what J.J. Watt necessarily is able to contribute, at this part of his David's career, but if nothing else, just that leadership is going to be valuable for them, particularly on that defense, which is already good. I know they lost Patrick Peterson, but he was kind of on the decline anyway, so who knows how much it affects their defense.
Yeah.
And then his leadership leaving is offset by J.J. Watt coming in. So I don't know how much of a drop off, if any, they have on the defensive end. But I do see them having the big game, potentially Kyler Murray running all over us. Hopefully not, but just seeing what they did last year, I feel like it's going to be more of the same. Unfortunately, we end up losing that game.
I think it'd be much closer. I think by then our defense will be right there, like I said, middle of the pack. So I don't think he will ball out as much. He will ball, but just not as much as he did last year.
I will say this. If he does ball out like he did last year, and we're in week 17, we got a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if the defense still hasn't figured it out by then, these W's we got here are not going to be W's.
Yeah.
So, I can't even say it's a barometer test because it's week 17. So if you can figure it out by then, who knows? Like they might not. And the other thing too, which I didn't think about, depending on how things are from like the standings perspective,
Mhm.
They may not play their guys that week. Like, you know,
Yeah.
they may have something set where they're locked into a certain position. They can't move. And they may say, well, it's not worth us getting Kyler hurt if we're already locked in a certain position or we already won a division or whatever else.
Yeah.
So these last couple of games, it may not be we may not get the full complement of players for whatever reason, whether they've already been eliminated or they've already clinched or whatever else.
Yeah. Extra bye week for players too, because
exactly.
they have this extra game.
Exactly right. So obviously all these are with the asterisk, but I think towards the back end, you really don't know for sure because of depending on how the season played out up until that point.
Yeah.
We may not even playing our guys, or hell, we may not even playing our guys. Maybe we clinched the East already, and it's just like we don't want to do that.
Did.
Or the worst things happen and we're out of it, and Garrett Gilbert's turning the quarterback. So who knows?
Yeah.
So I have them losing that game. And then the last week of the season, week 18 at Philadelphia. How do you have that one playing out?
I have us losing that one. It's in Philly in January, so it's going to more likely be snowy. It's going to be cold. It's going to be crazy, especially with those Philly fans, because were they in the stands last year?
They started coming in. I don't know if they were there when we played.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
So
if they were, it was very, very few. It wasn't a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So they got this pent up. They got to have a full season and waiting for us at the last game of the year. Man, that's going to be wild. I think, I have Philadelphia winning that one.
I had to win that one as well. That last game was always tough because you never know what's going on. Like, do they need that game to win a division? Do they need that game to make the playoffs? You know, it always seems like we need to win that game, and then we don't.
Our play-in situation.
Yeah, it feels like it's like that every year. Either that's the case, or we're just out of the playoffs altogether. It doesn't, it's never like one way or the other.
Easy, yeah.
Yeah. So, with it being at Philadelphia, which it seems like we play every last game of the year on the road somehow.
Yeah.
I think we played at Philadelphia last year. I think at the end of the year, I think it was a divisional game on the road last year. I think.
Yeah. I think that sounds about right.
So
it was a divisional game, but more likely it was on the road.
It was on the road.
I think when was the last time we had a hump? Was it the Giants like 4 years ago?
It's been a while. I don't know why, but we always end up on the road for some reason. So I had them losing that game. So my overall record has them at 9-8, and I don't know what that does as far as like the rest of the division, like if that gets you in or not. I will say that being the homer that I am, that we will make the playoffs. I don't know I think it'll probably be a wild card. If they're 9-8, I don't know if that's not to win the division. So I would say it's probably a wild card berth because we do have 3 wild card teams. So I say we made the playoffs via wild card at 9-8. What is yours when you add them all up?
10-7. I think that's wild card, maybe division. It'll be right there on the cusp. It'll be interesting. They said a lot of it is asterisk. Going off of, it's hard to go off of last year's numbers with all the COVID players taking out, opting out and things. So this year's going to be fun to watch. Fans will be back in the stands now that the vaccination's out and more people are getting it. So they'll be ramping up to get these stadiums filled up again.
Yeah, I think home field advantage is going to mean a lot more this year than it's meant in a while.
Yeah.
Because fans being so excited to be back and just ready to, kind of experience what they missed out on last year.
Yeah.
So I think you see attendance go up. I think you see just overall interaction go up, and I think that makes it tough. When you play your first 2 games in a row against teams who may not have had fans last year. I know the Chargers didn't have fans last year. I think Tampa may have started towards the tail end, but not a full house, obviously. So you got a hyped up crowd in Tampa coming off a Super Bowl win the first week, and then you got LA fans coming to a brand new stadium and they didn't get to experience last year. Like that. That's a tough start. Yeah. That's a tough start. Yeah. So it'll take a lot for us to win these road games. Obviously, Kansas City will be tough. Minnesota will be tough. New Orleans is always tough, and divisional games are always tough. So I think we got our work cut out for us at home. I mean, on the road. Hopefully, we have our supporters come out at home, which I think we will, and take care of the home field for us as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. And obviously we'll, update and upload it as the season progresses. I won't go into playoffs and stuff like that because, we don't have enough information yet. Maybe as we get closer to the beginning of the year, we may do predictions as far as division winners and stuff like that like we did last year. But hopefully between 9-8 and 10-7, that's like right where we always are anyway, 8-8, 9-7.
Yeah, exactly.
More of the same with that extra game. But we'll see how it goes, man. Like I said, I think there's a lot of, like we said, about asterisk and just not really being sure. These are obviously knee-jerk reactions based off of what we've seen, but depending on how training camp goes, and before if Aaron Rodgers gets traded, that's a whole other ball.
He changed everything.
So we'll see how it goes. So as always, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you have not already done so, please subscribe to the Ghost Sun Production YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. All other podcasts are on there as well. CS Hayboy is not only on Ghost Sun Production YouTube channel, but it has its own podcast channel on your normal streaming services, Spotify, SoundCloud, all those things. So please make sure you support us from that perspective as well. Comment if you have any ideas on what you want us to do. Be sure to comment as well. Hit us up on Ghost Sun Production Instagram page. Just be active. We're trying to grow the network. We're trying to grow the channel. So any feedback you guys can give us, obviously, is greatly appreciated. So with that being said, obviously, this is the Jay and Will Show. Appreciate you guys watching. And until next time, we are out.
Later.